I went to this music festival called Shambhala, and it was really great. It was fun music festival, but like drugs were legal there in Vancouver at this thing in the sense that the police didn't care, and you could buy drugs off a menu there.
What was on the menu?
Literally everything, cocaine. Like there's one person that came by, like an Asian girl that came by, that had like a cocaine menu.
That's cool.
And yeah, with all this, and they had these crazy like $500,000 spectrometer machines at the festival.
What?
So like, let's say
That's
you
so
found,
cool.
let's say, let's say you find something on the ground, you could bring it to them and be like, "Oh, I found this powder," and they're like, "Sure, bud," and then they open it up and they're like, "Okay, so it's like 15% coke, 60% meth, and 7% yada yada," and it's pretty much, this is like what cocaine. This is like street coke. How do you want to consume it? If you want to do it through your nose, we'll give you a snorter and we'll break it up for you. You could also drink it. It won't be as good of a reaction, but it still could whatever. You could bring like a pill there and be like, "Hey, can you break this pill up into 3 equal pills?" And they're like, "Sure." And I remember like we brought this pill there and they like broke open the pill and they're like, "Hey, this pill's really made phenomenal. Whoever this dealer is, if you look at this here, this is a purple pill with his insignia here.
What?
We weren't able to open this capsule.
Do you see how
up.
this has Bart Simpson imprinted on the side of it? Now that's quality.
Yeah, the guy that's talking, he's like wearing like a lab coat, but he's also a full colorful hippie under it because he this is just his shift here now.
Dr. Dan.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like when we had to open this capsule, we had to break it open." And he's like, "That's a good thing because like this dealer obviously values his drug and it's a good drug, and he doesn't want other people to buy it, break them open, and fill it up with garbage and have his logo, his Bart Simpson logo, being spread around town with a shit drug in it." So they're like, "Oh yeah, so it just is a good product right here, and this is 90 milligrams of very intense Molly MDMA. We could break it up into 30 milligrams for you," and then they'll put them in capsules and stuff. And when people bad trip, like they come and guide you over to this place that's like nice so everyone can chill, and it's like it really like their harm reduction is intense. And this is Vancouver. This is like outside of Vancouver. This is BC. This is where the place in Canada. Remember, like a couple years ago, they were selling cocaine legally. You could buy an 8-ball from the government. legally, they tried that.
What's
for
going
like
on
3
up
months.
there, brother?
I see what they liked about Trudeau now. That's
They had the, if you went to a bar, you can go there now. You can go to a bar and then pay an extra $5 for your beer, and they'll give you a whippet, like a little NOS can at the bar. Yeah, BC, like the drug stuff, like rave culture in Canada is like pills, drugs, whatever. But then like when I went to Burning Man, or I'll go to like rave type stuff in the US, it's very alcohol focused, and that's a major difference with Canada. Is there's way less drinking at these things. There's far more like people would sooner, bring mushrooms in their drink, or like hide something or whatever.
Well, if you think about it, I've never even heard of like that access to the mass spectrometer like that. That's safety.
Oh, I thought you were joking when you were like, "Oh, cool," because I thought
that's
I'm like, cool. They have a spectrometer there.
No, that's an expensive piece of machinery. Like
it is. Okay, I thought you were roasting me.
No, I think that's really fucking cool. That is the reason for the more alcohol use here than all that drug use there, is because you know what's in a Miller Lite, or you know what's in a bottle of vodka, but you see a white pill and it's like, fuck, that is that fentanyl? Is that cocaine? Is that an upper? Is that a downer? Is that gonna kill me? Is it gonna make me horny? Like, what's it gonna do?
Yeah,
whatever that guy says.
I could die.
And like when people were leaving that festival, they would like on their way out, there's the police there, and the police like look at you and they're like, "Yeah, go turn back around, go back in for like another 6 hours." But they weren't putting that on your,
you're not done.
Like you weren't getting in shit. They were just like, "No, you thought wrong." And it was like there was no lying, there was no like sneaking by it. It was like, turn back around, you're not going on the road. And like, so there's just like not a lot of people leaving fucked up. People were very serious, like the night before, staying sober. And it's kind of like sometimes when people have the choices, not always, but sometimes when they have the choices, and I'm not saying sell 8-balls, have the government sell 8-balls, but like if people have the choice, like they were tending to do the right thing there. And it was really interesting to me because it would have never been like that. This
I'm
is a
all
picture.
for that at like a festival like that for sure. Like
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
not the government maybe sell. I mean, if I'm being honest, there's enough libertarian in me that I'm like, yeah, the government should sell the 8-balls. That way we know they're safe. I like that. Just don't tax them too much.
Yeah, and this is a picture of me from Shambhala.
What the fuck, bro?
Let's see.
Me having a very peaceful time at Shambhala.
I'm glad you spent.
Pull this picture up. Pull this picture up, please.
What a mad dog.
That's why people are like, "Hey, I'll go check out Epic Mealtime. Oh, he's live on Twitch." And then,
I can just imagine that a cop saw this face and was like, "You're not done.
Go back.
Go back in there."
and I'm there sitting in an invisible car, like not actually in a car, but I'm
Boy,
pretending.
your eyes went wonky, brother.
Your
My
eyes-
God.
That's because you know what? At that moment,
Yeah.
if you when I was there, I was like, and I remember it very clearly, like it was actually me that I was there, and I was like, someone's got to take my picture. I'm feeling crazy right now. I at that time finally like really understood everything about life. I felt like I was surfing the time-space continuum and
Oh, you are?
actually like literally everything, like the most. I was blasting. I was blasting
Were you
everything.
candy flipping?
Ketamine consistently though. Ketamine consistently.
I was gonna ask you about ketamine because as people know, I've dabbled with prescribed ketamine, and I do have life figured out for a short while.
Mm-hmm. Did you not? Did you stop figuring it out, or you still do?
I guess I was implying that it's a little more complicated than I thought at the time, but the thoughts were good. I wrote them down, and then sometimes I read them again and revisit the wisdom. And it's never like food makes you fat. It's like, things that I should prioritize better.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
good,
it helped me a lot. Like, and it's funny because in that moment, I'd be like, yeah, that was me. That's an important moment in my life. And I was like, really thought I understood everything. But if you spoke to me, I was like, I couldn't even walk up a step. And I was like, but my brain was running perfectly. Like, I knew enough that I looked like that. And what was so crazy, and I was really shocked, is that I was so fucked up, and I was not like, normally when you get so fucked up, you're like, I can't exist. I was like, I can't believe I'm this fucked up, and I'm standing and I'm speaking and I'm existing, and I could see my back. Like that eye that was turned, somehow I was seeing myself in third person. Like I was in GTA. Like I literally was in GTA. I was literally like walking. I was like, I can't believe I'm looking at my own back.
Yeah, you're having a little out of body experience, a mini out of body experience.
Like the most, and it was very. But it's funny because like I put that up myself on Shambhala, and I was like, hey, I had a peaceful first time at Shambhala there. I put that picture up, and then someone put it up on r/took too much, and they're like, hey, you guys remember Epic Mealtime? All these people are like, oh God, what the fuck happened here?
Dude, that was the first comment in the comment section I saw. It was some guy on that picture being like, are you the Epic Mealtime guy? And someone responded, they're like, yeah, check his profile, dude. And it's like,
yeah, when I was at Shambhala, I was tripping balls, and I called up Freddie Wong on FaceTime, and he's like in bed just waking up, and I was like, Freddie, dude, I'm fucking tripping, bro. I wish we were playing a fucking battle royale right now, dude. I could fucking see my own back. I can't believe I see my own back. And he's like, sure, bud, you look like you're having a great time there. And I'm looking, and this kid was like with his girlfriend. He kept like looking at me weird, and I'm like talking to Freddie, and then he comes up to me. He's like, yo, so sorry, are you from Epic Mealtime? And I was like, yeah, bro, I am. You ever watch Freddie Wong? He's like, dude, I grew up on Freddie Wong. I'm like, it's Freddie Wong right here, dude. And I hold my phone up, and it's like Freddie in bed on FaceTime, and he's like, what's up, man?
He's cool, Freddie.
I'm like, yeah,
dude
Freddie's
you
the
showed
best.
that to doesn't believe that was a real experience now.
He was actually standing there because he was tripping, and he was like, is this happening?
Exactly.
Hi, Freddie. Oh my God, is this happening? And I was like, dude, the baking guy holding Freddie Wong on FaceTime? How crazy is Shambhala? And he was like, whoa. And then he like left, and I was thinking about it later. I'm like, he's for sure got whatever he took, he got an extra dose of it. Because everyone there is fucked up. Obviously, they have a drug menu.
yeah.
And I was walking back
How
to
do they protect the ladies?
No one does it. No one's like, that's not like the vibe's not like
Oh, really?
once alcohol I find is like not
So they're
the
defenseless, you'd
foundation.
say.
You kill it there for sure.
Well, if you guys become a state, I'll be allowed to go. I'm excited about the possibilities.
Oh, hey, you know what? That's a big positive, actually. That you can come sleep over.
Yeah.
Go sleep over at Harley's house.
Like, bring your dogs. My dog would be great. When I was at that
Bring our
Shambhala thing, how everyone was on drugs. One thing that was interesting was there was this one guy there. When I was going back to my tent, it was just like this just loose Asian dude there.
A loose
chilling.
Asian dude, so like a
Loose-
sweaty guy.
Loose, not just like a loose Asian dude just on his own, like just by himself. People are usually with people.
Like a Lucy cigarette.
And he was doing, yeah, and he was doing like he was like looking at the rocks and stuff. And I thought he was tripping out. And I was like, hey, bud, are you okay? What's that?
Asian geologist.
Me aspiring, I assume maybe because he was taking in the rocks. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I thought he was tripping. He was like, oh, I was just looking at these rocks here, and the person laid out their mat there, and it's really cool. And I was like, oh, are you good? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, you don't like fucked up or anything? He's like, no, I'm sober. I don't do drugs. I was like, oh, you don't do drugs? And you came here? That's so crazy. That's cool. You like music? He's like, yeah, I love the music. And I'm like, oh, who'd you come here with? He's like, no one. And I was like, where'd you come from? He's like, Oklahoma. And I was like, you came here solo, sober from Oklahoma? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's your tent right there? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you don't even there's nothing in the tent. He's like, no, I have my backpack and my jacket and pants. And this is like end of summer, like in the mountains in BC. Like it's near Banff, like not near Banff, near just in BC, near Vancouver, and it gets cold. It gets very cold, and he had like a rain jacket. He didn't have the proper stuff, and he was sober, and he had no friends there. And I was just like, you're here with no friends. You don't do drugs. You don't even have a blanket, and you're here by yourself. I'm like, that's the fucking most hardcore raw dogging of this shit that I can even imagine. You're so much more hardcore than anyone here. And I had bought a Walmart sleeping bag, but the festival gave me a sleeping bag because that was part of the package I got. So I was like, you got to take this sleeping bag first of all. I gave this guy David my sleeping bag, and he was like, oh, you don't need to do it. I'm like, no, I have another one. You're literally an idiot. You should have it. And then he was like, God, he was like, can I be honest with you? I was like, yeah. He's like, I want to do Molly.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh, you know, if you like, do you ever smoke weed? He's like, no, I've never done a drug in my life. I was like, why would you want to do Molly? He was like, I just do. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, if you do, I'll hang out with you. That's the guy I went down with.
You can fuck off.
That's the guy I went down with to the place, and we went down on each other. No, he brought the pill to the spectrometer, and they broke it up into pills for him so he could take it in smaller amounts. Nice. And like I introduced that guy to everyone because I knew so many people there. And I introduced this guy to everybody, and everybody knew him that he was like came here sober and he's solo. And it was like, now it's like 11 p.m. at night. He's like, I wanted to try Molly, and he had the pill. He was like, I'll do it at 3 a.m. when I start to get tired. And everyone was like, nah, that's not how that works. You know, like it's not going to make you awake later. You'll just, that'll be fucking weird. But I ended up losing him. And then seeing him like every night, like we'd go back because our tents were nearby. And I was like, oh, like what happened? And he's like showing me his videos. He's like, oh, I met these girls and they had mushrooms. So I bought mushrooms and I took 5 grams of mushrooms today. I forgot to tell you, he has a GoPro on his head all day. That was recording. So we'd like go and we're standing there. He's like showing me the footage, and it's like him like dancing with people in like dinosaur costumes on the dance floor and stuff. And it's this sober dude's like POV on mushrooms and Molly. He's never ever done drugs. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's crazy. He's like, yeah, I still feel weird. I was like, yeah, you know, sleep it off if you need me or anything, you know, whatever. You come out and like, yeah, have your water there. And he went to his room, and I said to my buddy, I was like, damn, you could fucking take all the drugs you want. You can do whatever it is that you want. You will never ever be as fucked up as the random Asian dude from Oklahoma who came here by himself and's never done drugs and is tripping on mushrooms and Molly in a tent alone right now with a fucking GoPro on his head.
That sounds hellish. Going there alone and then
I don't know why he did that.
Psychedelics for the first time.
I don't know why he did that. Yeah. Yeah. Although I went to Burning Man without knowing the people I was going with, really. And my buddies were like, how could you do that, dude? What if you get there and like they suck? And I was like, bro, we're going to get there and I'm going to suck.